Oh, fucking hell. Right, sorted. Thank God for that. Oh, God. Sorry about that, darling. It's a bit of a cock up on the old setup front. I got confuddled because I was doing two live streams and I forgot to tweedle the doings to horizontal instead of vertical. Oh, God, I've had the worst night. Well, I haven't had the worst night at all. Don't exaggerate. Don't exaggerate, Boaty. Really busy night at the restaurant, unexpectedly busy, no staff. And then late leaving the restaurant, and then just the worst, well, not the worst drive home, Joe. Stop exaggerating. Um, a frustrating drive home. As always, when you've left late and you need to get home or you want to get home, you get stuck behind all the slowest drivers in the world and all the traffic lights are red, aren't they? So oh, God. Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Tuesday Night Live with me, Boaty. And I'm going to be coming into any orifice that I damn well please of yours for the next 12 minutes, and then I'm going to bugger off, get very drunk, make some supper, and go to bed. How are you, darlings? Oh, I need that. Who's here? Joe, Jimmy, Bad Books, Neil. Neil, thank you for the links that you sent me. Um, The one set of wheels is in Paynton in Devon. No, I can't get there. The others, I don't know if they fit or not. They're too modern, and I haven't got any money for any of them anyway. But thank you. I really appreciate it. What do you mean the picture's frozen? No, it's not. I'm looking at it. It's absolutely fine. Pull yourself together. Uh, Tracy, good evening. John, good evening. Yes, that is exactly what happened, Jimmy. I came home and buggered it all up. Must be serious. He's missed 1 o'clock by 5 minutes. Yeah, and God, I need it tonight. Oh, hello. Andrew's here. Is the interwebs on the fritz? Don't think so. Uh, oh, a question from Skick. I love Skick's questions. Are there wind issues in the house? Yes, especially when I'm in it. Maybe from the chimney. Yeah, the chimney makes a right old noise. The wind howls down the chimney and makes a right old racket. Or do the drains gurgle? Yes, they do. Evening yet again, says Cheeseburger. Oh, it's the fridge and freezer making noises. Oh, they do fit, Neil. Okay. And Trace has never heard fridges and freezers dragging wooden boxes across the upstairs rooms. That'll just be the ghosts. Now, I don't know whether you believe in ghosts or not. I never have. But this place has the reputation of being one of the most haunted places in the UK. And when you live amongst ghosts, then whether you believe in them or not, you just accept that they are there. And this place is very, very definitely very, very, very haunted. As anybody who will, oh, Cheeseburger, note that the sound has stopped now that boat is in. Yeah. The ghost normally behaves themselves. I mean, I'm sure I've told you many times before. when I first moved in here, the place had been empty for a while. And the ghosts were not happy about somebody moving in, and they were really uh, more than mischievous, they were destructive. They would unlock doors and leave them open in the middle of the night. They would take my car keys. They would turn taps on and leave them turned on. They would turn electricity switches off, all things like that. But over the years, I've told you this many, many times before, but over the years, I speak to them, and we've reached a situation where we get on okay together. And 99% of the time, when I'm here, everything's absolutely fine. Not like when I first moved here; it was bloody chaos. But these days, everything's fine. We've made our peace together. Now, obviously, I don't know what happens when I'm not here because I'm not here, except that when Boo and Little Miss were spending time here before we moved in together and started our new life in Matlock Bath, then obviously they would occasionally spend nights here, or quite regularly spend nights here actually. And of course, I would go to work of an evening and leave them here. And they reported all sorts of things. They were terrified of being here when I wasn't here. They were okay when I was here, but when I wasn't here, there was so much noise from upstairs. And of course, the bathroom is upstairs, and they wouldn't go to the loo. They wouldn't go to the loo all night until I came home because there was so much going on up there. They were just terrified of what they were going to see or feel or hear. And the people who have stayed here overnight have some stories to tell you. Good evening, Sophie. Do you get banging doors? Asked John. Not now, but yeah, used to. Used to get banging doors. Drawers would open and close. Doors would open and close. Toilet would flush. All sorts of things. Hello, England, says Stephen S. Paul. Neil says, John, Boaty does the banging on doors and sometimes on the table. Ghosts kick ass, says Stephen S. Paul. Sophie loves ghost things. Joe says ghosts are brilliant. Oh, there's a lot of love for the ghosts. Sophie went to a ghost tour in London. Oh, God, cheeseburger. He bangs on the doors just like it was Mustard's head. Now then, last night, or possibly the night before, no, it would have been last night because last night was Monday, wasn't it? Who was it? Neil, was it you? Who was it who wondered whether the wonderful Mr. Lloyd of Lloyd Vehicle Consulting YouTube channel was a member of the AA or the RAC? Somebody asked that question. Who was it? Oh no, come on. I want to know who it was. And the rest of you, oh, hello, what's that? Oh, that's very kind. Thank you very much. And the rest of you, tell me about your day and tell me what you had for dinner. I'm going to have something for supper I've not had for ages. And I'm jolly well looking forward to it. Oh dear, my kitchen is in chaos. I haven't caught up from Monday yet. Diddly do, diddly do, diddly do. Skick says, I'm surprised you take it so lightly. All of those noises would bother me. Well, as I say, Skick, I don't really get noises when I'm here, not from the ghosts. I mean, I get the wind noise in the chimney, of course, both chimneys. But that's nice. I like that. I like the sound of wind. I miss my trees terribly, as longer term viewers will know. I had two enormous trees in my garden. I'm trying to remember what they were called. but bloody great big buggers. And I loved the sound of them in the wind, and I missed that very, very much indeed. I missed those trees terribly. I was very so. I actually cried when they were felled, and my cottage in Wales backed onto a forest in the foothills of the Beacons, and that was amazing in the wind. God, it was one of the most amazing sounds ever. I love the sound of the wind, but the ghost skick, if that's what you're talking about, when I'm here, doesn't really happen anymore. Did it bother me when I first moved in? It probably did initially until I did some research on the history of the cottage. And so I could then make an informed guess, if you like, um, as to who and what the ghosts were. And then I understood. And then I stopped being annoyed. I actually felt sympathy, believe it or not. And that was when I started talking to them and made my peace with them, and so on and so on and so on. And as I say, things gradually settled down. Um, uh, I can't know what goes on when I'm not here for obvious reasons, although certainly when Nikki Nunu first moved in next door, and I was going out to work at night, and she was living there alone or with one of the kids at the time. There were a couple of times when she came to me and said, you know, I'm not being deliberately nosy, but did you leave people in your cottage when you went to work last night? And I sort of said no. She said it's just there was a lot of sound of laughing and shouting and so on. Of course, it was them, wasn't it? It was the ghosty woasties playing up when I'm not there. But no, it doesn't bother me, Skip. It doesn't bother me in the least. I know I'm an arrogant sort of chap, but I'm not so arrogant as to. Do you know the sort of people that when they have a hotel room and they think they've got the right to treat it as their home, and of course it's a hotel room, and a hotel is a business, and people need to gain access, and it needs to be got ready for the next people, and so that's why you can't just leave late if you feel like it or check in early and all that. Well, I'm kind of like that with this. I mean, this cottage is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. So it's got a lot of history before my sorry old ass came and moved in here just 8 short years ago. So it would be very arrogant of me to think that the cottage should lose all of its history simply because I move in. And if you believe in ghosts and such things, or presences or spirits or whatever you want to call them, and I make no bones about it, I thought it was all stuff and nonsense. But if you believe in or even accept that sort of thing, then there are going to be presences that predate you. And what right have you got, or have I got, or has anybody got to say you can't be here? They were here before you. I love this place. And when I fall off the twig, I intend to haunt it as well. I shall join in with all the other ghosts. And whoever moves in here, if they displease me, I'll do the same thing. I'll unlock the door and leave it open in the middle of the night. I'll turn their electricity off. I'll steal their car keys if they annoy me, if they don't treat the place like it should be treated. So, yeah, too bloody right I will. Now then. Andrew says, I used to work in an old hotel in Melbourne years ago. It was built in 1888 and originally was set up as self-contained rooms for the lower classes. Sorry about that. The lower class. Working there at night was a bit on the creepy side. Cheeseburger says Furious Matt isn't in the AA or the RAC, and that's why he had a lonely wank in a Travelodge on Sunday night. What happened? What happened? I've not seen any videos. I've been too busy today. So what happened? Presumably he was going back home from the NEC on Sunday. And did he break down and have to stay in a hotel overnight? Is that what happened? And what car was he in? What car did he end up taking? I've not watched any of the classic NEC business. Couldn't be asked. Stephen says, perhaps you have someone living in your attic and they drop down to use the bog and have a nose through your drawers. Could do, I suppose. Oh, it was the 200 VI and he broke down at the NEC. Ah, thermostat housing leaking. Oh, right. That is what Joseph was talking about then. When we were chatting with him on the phone on Monday. I didn't realize that it happened, of course, but he was telling us that the work on the 200 VI, which I think Pingu sourced for him, but Joseph was telling us that the head gasket work on the 200 VI was done by Mr. Coleman, rubbish mechanic, who is obviously not a rubbish mechanic, but his main job is working on refuse collection vehicles. And he was saying something about that he told Matt that he needed to do, I'm sure he said it was the thermostat housing as well, and Matt didn't do it. I think I've got that right. But what? So he actually had to stay in a hotel on Sunday night. He couldn't get home. He's not a member of all of his fleet of old knackers, and he's not a member of the bloody AA or RAC. That's balmy. That's balmy. So if he stayed in a hotel on Sunday night, how did he get home on Monday? Or is he still in the hotel? Is he destined to spend the rest of his life in a Travelodge in Chelmsley Wood with a broken down 200 VI parked in the car park? Oh, hello, sir, says Barry. Hello to you, Barry. Stephen S. Paul says, you don't know what haunted is until you've spent time in my old factory/warehouse. Oh, okay. Thank you, Neil. You got it fixed by a local MG place. Why is he not a member of the AA? I mean, that's bloody madness to me. No, there you are. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Factory warehouse, built in stages from 1865 to 1905, according to the Historical Society. This place is haunted. I bet it's not as haunted as this place, Stephen. This place was built about 300 years, 200 or 300 years before that, and a lot of people have been murdered here. And that's quite apart from the monks who originally lived here and the people that were imprisoned here by a local kind of lord of the manor. And he imprisoned some women here and did things. It's got a load of history. And obviously the most recent history was in the 1970s when 3 generations of family were murdered here. But, you know, you can Google that if you want to and check it all out. It's an interesting story. If you have an interest in families being murdered. And I think I've told you this before, but the murderer, I worked with the guy that shot him, the guy that killed him, the policeman that killed him, I should add. He took early retirement and came to work for my missus at the hospital, doing the same job that I did on the Delta Crew ambulances. Yeah, ever such a nice chap. His name was Keith. We used to play snooker together. God, the stories he used to tell me about the old days. If I had my life over again, I'd think about being a policeman. I wouldn't want to be a policeman now with all of the body cameras and social media and all of that. But I think I think I'd have enjoyed being a policeman back in the days of the Sweeney. Oh God, it's a fly. I thought they'd all gone. Yeah, back in the days of the Sweeney, when you were drunk every night and bloody tarting around with loose women and beating up criminals and throwing them down the stairs. That would have been great fun. Cheeseburger had a jalfrezi tonight at Bangla Lounge in Hales Owen. It was nice. Oh, okay. No, I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't eat a jalfrezi anymore. My palate has changed, and any Indian dish, which means it's a Bangladeshi dish, that's kind of hotter than a Boaty, then so jalfrezi, madras, vindaloo, fal. Then I've told you this a million times before. It's just red chili flakes, and they are horrible. They are horrible. It's a very coarse, naive spice heat that they give, and I don't like it at all. And I don't like the after effects either. Whereas I would, I do sometimes make a kind of jalfrezi, but I make it same kind of thing with with peppers and onion and so on. But I put the spice heat in from fresh green chilies, and it makes all the difference. With a few extra bits and pieces in there as well. I mean, things that make curries absolutely great. Ground cumin, ground coriander, turmeric, fresh green chilies. All of that. Oh, and the best thing, and mustard agrees with this, coriander stalks. I don't know what it is about Europeans. They only use the leaf of coriander. And the best thing, or one of the best things that you can put into your curry, are coriander stalks. They've got a fantastic flavour. Mustard uses them all the time. So do I. But I don't know any other Europeans who do. They only use the leaf of the coriander. And it's a totally, totally different taste. Don't throw the stalks away. Honestly, they're fabulous. And I've told you this before. I'll tell you what else is good in the curry. Radishes. Put some radishes in your curry. You won't regret it. I mean, that fantastic peppery radish taste when it's all infused with the heat of the curry. Oh, lovely. Nobody's told me who it was that asked about Joseph Lloyd and whether he was a member of the AA or the RAC. Oh, hello. That's not far from John. The ghosts won't hurt you. It's the living you got to look out for. That's a good point, actually, Jimmy. Our house had weird noises, says Bad Books. Turned out the chimney was loose, all 20 feet of it. Amazing it never fell down. No more noises since it was rebuilt. John, bless him, who of course had surgery this morning, is feeling okay tonight. Just been relaxing tonight and dealing with the kids. Oh, bless you. You left your iPad on, says Andrew. Yeah, no, I did. Why is there a ghost? Asked Sophie. Cheeseburger. You could ask the ghost to dust for you. Doesn't look like you've done it in weeks. Oh God, you've got a point actually. You've got a point actually. Oh dear. Oh, I feel guilty now because I really haven't. Oh dear. You know what? I need a cleaner. I need a woman that does. Now, I've mentioned this before as well, I know. God almighty, I've been doing these live streams for about how long now? 12 months, 14 months, 17 years. So I know I'm repeating myself quite regularly, but I've always had a cleaner or cleaners, a woman that does, or women that do, as we used to call them. Now, I subscribe to the African idea that if you can afford to employ staff, which admittedly I can't really now, but I used to be able to. If you can afford to employ staff, then you have a moral and societal duty to employ them. Because if you don't do that, you're selfishly depriving somebody else of employment and a gainful wage and them putting food onto their family's table. So I've always subscribed to that. And I've always had gardeners if I'm living somewhere with a garden. And I've always had cleaners um, or women that do, you know. The best ones I had a lovely pair of women that used to come in, they cleaned and they did my laundry and they did all of my ironing. That was when I was at the car showrooms. And they were, oh God, they were fabulous. They were worth every penny and more. I actually used to overpay them because I thought they were worth more than they were asking for. They were brilliant. And I had a fabulous woman here, Mrs. my boss at Sainsbury's, who I was very much in love with, by the way. I was head over heels in love with my boss at Sainsbury's. Gosh, oh, I really was absolutely besotted by her. And she used to take the piss and call her Mrs. Potts, which is a reference to some television program or film or something. I don't know what it is. I don't remember. She did tell me. But yeah, she used to take the piss about my Mrs. Potts. But my woman that does was wonderful. And I lost her to the hospital. She worked part time at the hospital and they became desperate, I think, probably around the beginning time of the pandemic. Oh, it was because I lost her. I lost her just a couple of weeks before Chinese Madam moved in. That's right. Yeah, that's right. And I've never found anybody else since. And I'm not great at cleaning. I'm OCD. Well, I'm not OCD because we've done this before as well. OCD is a serious medical condition. I'm just a bit, let's call it a spectrum, and I'm a little bit on the spectrum. But that's to do with things being in the right place or pointing in the right direction. I'm not OCD about dusting or cleaning or anything like that. I rely on other people for that. I will own up. I'm hands up. I'm no good at it. So I desperately need to find a cleaner. So that's my excuse, Cheeseburger, for not doing the dusting. I'm used to having a woman that does. I've got gardeners. I've got amazing gardeners, a husband and wife team. And again, they're worth every penny that I pay them and more. They're fabulous. They're wonderful. My gardener previous to them was pants. And I mean pants. Had to get rid of him. He was, oh, dear me. But the ones I've got now are amazing. And they do cleaning as well. But they only do one-off deep cleans where they go into a house like for a day and do a massive deep clean, like if it was a rental property and somebody was leaving or the landlord was preparing it for the next tenant or something like that. They don't do just regular cleaning, which is a shame. I'd love to have them. So that reminds me, I really need to put some effort into finding somebody good that that so that Cheeseburger doesn't keep nagging me about the dusting. That's some strong wine he's drinking tonight, says Carlos Fandango's super wide wheels. He's talking utter drivel. I always talk utter drivel. I don't need strong wine to do that. Sophie says, why has Boaty got a ghost at his home? Because it's a 700-year-old cottage and lots of things have happened here, Sophie. Families were murdered. Monks were murdered. Women were imprisoned and bad things happened to them. All sorts of terrible things have happened here. Haunting is great, says Stephen S. Paul. I'm used to the groans and creaks, etc. Oh, and Trace has answered Sophie as well. People were murdered there, Sophie. It's all on Wikipedia too. It is. I've seen two ghosts, says Stephen Manning. One was an American airman from World War II in the Cambridgeshire Fens. He was lit up like a hologram. Gosh, I drove my car through him. He was still waving when I looked in the mirror. Blimey. And that's apart from the fact that the cottage is old, says Trace. It is. It's very, very, very old. Oh, right. Matt's 200 VI breakdown says Cheeseburger. Hey? Right. Okay. Good on you, Stephen S. Paul. Having had 2 near-death experiences under my belt, I know ghosts and I'm not in the least scared. I don't think you should be scared, to be honest. Get your trousers on, Nick. You're nicked. That's it. That's it. Did they ever actually say that in the Sweeney? Get your trousers on, you're nicked. I love fresh coriander, says Trace. Put the stalks into the cooking dish. Yes. Then garnish with the leaves. Yeah, absolutely. Well done. You are doing it properly. I've been watching a few of these auditing videos, says Skick. I think some of them are a nuisance, but there are some that do some good. I don't think any of them do any good. And quite honestly, I've watched a bit of some of those auditing videos. And that is the problem with today's social media and everything being filmed society. I've seen those auditors. I know what they are. I know what they do. Every single one of them needs a fucking good kicking. Now, in the old days, when the world was a better place, anybody who pulled that sort of shit with a policeman would have had a truncheon wrapped around his head. And I fully approve of that. I think all of those auditing people who deliberately goad the police, who they might not be doing anything illegal, but they're purposely doing something that is going, that the police are necessarily have a duty to investigate, and then they're hoping that the police will tell them to move on and they can say, aha, I'm invoking my this right, that right, or the 47th Amendment right to do this, that, and the other. And then they antagonize the police. And all of the auditors that I've seen, with the possible exception of one, they're all absolute, how can I put this? They're all absolute scum. Yeah, basically just scum. They can't string a sentence together. They think they're clever. They're clearly not. And they're just pains in the ass, making money off YouTube by antagonizing the police who've got better things to do. And they all just need a good clip around the head. Honest to God, they do. And I am sad that the police are not as corrupt as they used to be. Now, the best thing that could happen to these auditing people would be that they got a quiet little visit from some policeman, either on or off duty, and got the shit kicked out of them and told, don't pull this sort of shit again, sonny. Or they should get fitted up, you know. for some crime or other. When they arrest them, and instead of them then being sued for wrongful arrest because they've arrested them for photographing or videoing a police station, they should just plant some bloody Class A drugs on them and get them done, send them down. It's what they deserve. They're disgraceful people. And quite frankly, then at the very least, they should have community service so they spend their hours going out and doing something worthwhile instead of making easy money by winding up people that are quite possibly decent, hard-working professionals who genuinely give a shit about protecting the public. I know there are bad apples, but these auditors, they just, oh God, honestly. Now, I've genuinely thought about doing this. I'm not lying. I've genuinely thought about doing it. I would like to set up an Auditing the Auditors channel where if we could get some information on where these bellends were going to do their next bit of auditing, which is a bollocks phrase in and of itself, I would like to go along and audit the auditors. So as soon as they start pulling their nonsense with some policemen, we just jump on them and beat them up, basically. That would give me an enormous amount of pleasure. I mean, not immediately, but you know, when they get to be complete bell ends and they're winding up the policemen and they're taunting them and they're saying, oh, you don't know anything. Oh, get your sergeant. You should educate this one. He doesn't. Just smack them in the mouth. That's what they need. They need a bloody good smack in the mouth. What they need is better parenting, right? Because if they had decent parents, they wouldn't be going out doing that auditing nonsense. A decent parent would say, fuck this, go out, get a shovel in your hand and do a decent day's work for a decent day's pay, you lazy bastard, instead of wandering about with your bloody stupid bloody phone camera or drone or whatever it is that you're filming on, deliberately annoying the police. Just go and do something better. That's what a decent parent would do. So I blame the parents, and we should probably beat the parents up as well for not doing a good enough job at parenting. Oh, drives me mad. Ground cumin, Stephen Espo, cumin, not human. But, oh God, Boaty needs a maid so he can podger her on the table. Wouldn't have to dust it then either. I wouldn't. You've all got the wrong idea to me. Neil says the cleaners would last longer if you didn't keep trying to podger them as payment. I'm not. Oh God, the candle's not straight and the glass vase is dirty. I don't give a shit. You fucking critical swines. I'm past caring. I need a cleaner, okay? And I can put my hand on my heart and I can look you in the eye and I can tell you that I've never podgered a cleaner. I can put my hand on my heart and I can look you in the eye and I can tell you that I've only ever podgered 2 cleaners. The others went entirely unpodgered and they were paid correctly, and there was no shenanigans of any nature. So, yeah. Jesus Christ. That refrigerator is still wonky, Boaty. That's because the floor's wonky. I can't do anything about that. Boaty took extra precautions with the maid during COVID. I never did that one, Cheeseburger. God almighty, she was in her late 50s. I didn't. Boaty's been living there for 700 years because he's a vampire. I've been living here for 8 years. The cottage was here a long time before before I was. Oh, hello, Boaty and chat, says Simone. Simone is here. I don't like the Police, says Cheeseburger. I think Sting is overrated. I did quite like the Police. I like a couple of their numbers. I did miss your comment about the AA, Sophie. Shall I go back and have a look for it? Sophie. Oh, right, yes. Should have called the AA. Who do we call? Ghostbusters. But change it to the AA. Yeah. Oh, I can tell you who did that. Ray Parker Jr. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. The one I remember most was the spitting image takeoff of it. Big Busters. Lots of pictures of Samantha Fox. Cheeseburger says, I agree with your view on auditors. Why wind them up? And I missed out a bit there, but video title, Auditors, I blame the parents. Yeah, I'm having that. That will do nicely. Oh, God. Oh, Jimmy says, Tracy, job for you, Boaty's cleaner. And Joe says, Tracy would walk around the house naked clean. Oh, God. That used to be a thing, naked cleaners. There were women who made their living by doing cleaning naked. The maid was in her 50s. Well, so were you, said Cheeseburger. I wasn't then, all right? I was still in my 40s. And she was in her late 50s. I'm not doing somebody in their late 50s, for God's sake. I like them late 30s, early 40s. That feels about right. Oh, Sam Fox. She bats for the other team, Andrew. She's a lesbian lady. Right, well, I've caught up with the comments, so that's good. Still nobody has told me who it was that asked about Mr. Lloyd and whether he was with the AA or the RAC and how did he cope, because if they came to recover him, they would be driving a vehicle that you're not allowed to talk about on his channel. So the point was, oh, it was you, Neil. I thought it was. Oh, Cheeseburger. Right, now, I didn't ask Mr. Lloyd, but I got a text message during the course of this evening. I think it was about the 9:30 mark. And the good Mr. Lloyd obviously has at some point caught up with last night's live stream. And I will read you the message as it came. Reverend Parry Hughes, I am neither a member of the I am neither a member of the AA nor the RAC. I belong to the Guild of Experienced Motorists, open bracket, GEM, close bracket, and get a nice glossy magazine every month. So there you go, Neil. That is your answer to that. And I find that absolutely wonderful. I mean, I'm very flattered that the good Mr. Lloyd would waste his time watching my live stream, but I think it's fabulous that, and it seems so correct for him that he would eschew the AA and the RAC and instead be a member of some elite organisation of which I've never heard and would almost certainly not be allowed to join. And I love the idea that every month a glossy magazine pops its way onto the Lloyd Vehicle Consulting doormat, having poked its way through the letterbox. I love that. When I got that text message, I absolutely giggled my little buttocks off. So I did. Some facts, says Cheeseburger. Same she doesn't. Well, she does, just not men. Uh, Andrew says, I know Boaty, but I can still fantasize though. Jimmy Quinn says, Boaty, your ex-wife is in her 60s. Perfectly true, she is now, but then I'm not pottering her, am I? I mean, admittedly, she is on Tinder, and admittedly, I did swipe right just for shits and giggles. But Cheeseburger says Matt needed the glossy magazine in his travel. Did you really have to stay in the hotel on Sunday night? I need to watch that video. Oh my God. Why would he not be a member of the AA? That's balmy. It's not as if his vehicles have proved to be unfailingly reliable, is it? Oh, Neil has heard of them, the Guild of Experienced Motorists, but he doesn't know what they do. Sam Fox and Linda Lusardi were competitors, says Skip. I preferred Linda. I preferred the other one. I preferred Kathy Lloyd. Um, yeah, Sam Fox never did it for me because, you know, she's a blonde and I don't do blondes. And quite frankly, I mean, it's wrong to objectify a woman purely by her busty substances. But if said woman earns her living by displaying her busty substances, then I think you're allowed to cast an opinion. And they're too damn big for me. Too damn big. And I'm not being offensive in any way, shape, or form there because most men think they're absolutely wonderful. Andrew is a prime example. So I'm sure that Sam Fox wouldn't give a flying hoot that I would find her breasts intimidating. Because many men wouldn't. And anyway, she prefers ladies. And why shouldn't she? That's what I say. But yeah, I definitely preferred what's her name, Kathy Lloyd. She was more my type. See, Linda Lusardi, she was too dumpy. She was always dumpy. I mean, I'm sure she's lovely, but too dumpy. I like them long and slender. And Kathy Lloyd Kathy Lloyd was her name Kathy Lloyd? I've got that name in my mind. I might have it wrong. She was all sultry looking. Linda Lusardi looked like a barmaid or somebody who works in your local chippy, whereas the Kathy Lloyd one, she looked all sultry and exotic, like an Eastern temptress. And I do like an Eastern temptress. Diddle-do. Joe. His breakdown company put him in a hotel overnight. And Neil says, speaking of which, did you sort your membership out? I did, Neil, after a bit of faffing about. God, it's not easy leaving the AA. And then it's not easy joining them again. But yeah, it's all sorted now. And I did use your link. Thank you very much. That saved me a few quid. Andrew says, Skick, Linda had her good points. Well, yeah, two of them. But it was Sam all the way with me. Matt is with the AA, says Joe. I've seen him use the AA in numerous videos. Oh, okay. And Cheeseburger says, Matt did stay in a hotel. Nobody would do the repair on that stage on a Sunday night. Okay. That makes sense now. Barry says, the Guild of Experienced Motorists sounds like the Masons. Oh, and Cheeseburger says, Joe, he's not with the AA anymore. Oh. Oh, and apparently he's with a new one now, says Neil. I like busty substances, says Simone. Who'd have thunk it? I like busty substances, but they not if they're too intimidating. I like them small but perfectly formed. I prefer Mrs. Mills, says Jimmy Quinn. We were talking about that. We were talking about Mrs. Mills. When? With Mustard. We were going somewhere. It must have been on a collection thing. I made him. Did that make it onto a video? I made him Google. I made him Google her and play some clips. And I'm not sure if that made it onto a video or not, but it did happen. I promise you. Video title, I like small tits. I'm not doing that as a video title. Oh dear. Oh, says Joe, I wonder why he left the AA. Maybe a sponsor with the other breakdown people. Oh, that's possible. Kathy Lloyd was a fine-looking woman, says Cheeseburger, but I couldn't put up with the Scouse accent. Oh, God, did she have a Scouse accent? Well, that's ruined my teenage fantasies. I couldn't cope with a Scouse accent either. I had no idea she was a Scouse. She looked like a wonderfully slender Eastern temptress, all pouty and sultry. I had no idea she was a Scouser. Bloody hell. Oh, shit. Wine turd. There's a video title, Kathy Lloyd's a Scouser. But you know who I forgot about? Who I totally forgot about? Because I've been fixating on Pepsi and Alanis Morissette. I completely forgot. Now, I was in the lockup of unwanted erections with Mustard yesterday. And as usual, the buggers next door were playing the radio very loudly, so we couldn't record. Uh, and Shania Twain was playing You're Still the One, which I think was from the album Come On Over. And I remember I was engaged to the lovely Sasha, who you lot might meet actually if I do any filming at Rob's funeral, which would be completely out of order, maybe at the wake afterwards. But Sasha's going, and Sasha was my second or third or fourth fiance. Second, I think. Was there anybody in between her and Donna? Hang on, let's think. Definitely number two and number three. I think she was number two. And she was a very serious one. I mean, we lived together and everything. 3, 2, 1. Oh, God, that stinks. Oh, dear. There was no need for that. And I remember being with Sash in Morrison's, or it would have been Safeway then, in Redditch, down at the bottom of the Bromsgrove Highway. And I think we'd gone to the magazine and cigarette section or whatever. And I just remember I didn't know much about music then. Well, I didn't know much about the current music. If I was with Sasha, then I was already singing, wasn't I? But it was all country and western and Neil Diamond. I was into the current pop stuff when I was a kid, of course I was. But then at that point in my life, the only music I was involved in was the music that I was singing. And I just remember, they have the CDs in that section or they did have, with the magazines and whatnot. You pass the tills and you're into that. You got your fag counter and there's the magazines. And I just saw this picture of this woman staring at me on the front of a CD cover. And I thought, that is the most beautiful woman that I have ever seen. And it was the CD cover to Come On Over by Shania Twain. I had no idea who she was. I bought the bloody CD, though, just so I could look at the picture. What a woman. What? I should rub a dub. Oh, dear me. And I've completely forgotten about her. But she's my current fantasy. There you go. Sasha actually started singing You're Still the One. So that I'd podger her in the way that I kept threatening I'd podger Shania Twain if I ever got half a chance. Time has not been kind, Kathy Lloyd, says Simone. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Barry likes ample bustage. Fair enough. Skick says it seems to be a new trend, women wearing those really tight elasticated pants that go up both crevices. Trace says the Guild of Experienced Motorists sounds like something out of Monty Python. The Knights that go, ni, etc. Or the Wizard of Oz. We represent the Lollipop League and the Guild of Experienced Motorists. If it was going to be a Monty Python thing, it'd be more like the Popular Front of Judea, wouldn't it? Are you from the Guild of Experienced Motorists? Fuck off! We're from the Experienced Motorist Guild. Fucking splitters. We should do that. We should Google it, right? And we should find out what exactly the Guild of Experienced Motorists is. And we should set up a new organization in competition, the Experienced Motorist Guild, just for shits and giggles, and see what we can get out of it. And we should all become members of it. And we should have our own glossy magazine that goes out monthly with pictures of Shania Twain and oh dear. Barry is more into legs and bum. Oh, okay. You'd love mustard. Or the League of Gentlemen, the Guild of Experienced Motorists. We're a guild of motorists who help experienced motorists. Oh, God, there's some comedy value to be had with that. I'm sure there is. I'm a gold member with the AA, says Jimmy Quinn. I phone up every year and get money knocked off the price. Simone never liked Shania Twain. What's not to like? She's a good songwriter. She's got a lovely voice, and my God, she was fit. Wow, dear me. Don't tell me you wouldn't, Simone. Don't tell me you wouldn't. Don't tell me that if Shania Twain in her prime rocked up to you and, I don't know, let's say that you were at the classic car show or one of those shows with TC and Shania Twain came along and you got chatting and she invited herself to your hotel that night so you could chat a bit more about Mark III Cortinas. And she turned up to the hotel and you're in the hotel lobby and you're having a few drinks. And she said, why don't we go up to your room so we can be a bit more comfortable? What would you say, Simone? Would you say, okay? Or would you say, oi, Twain, no, I don't like you in that sense. Button your blouse back up. Be on your way. Tonight's poll, says Andrew. What do you prefer? Small boobage, large boobage, bottom or legs? Oh, cheeseburger. The best thing about being a woman is the prerogative to take it up. Oh, dear me. Oh, God. Now we're on about mustard, Todger. Now we're on about pornographic music videos. Yeah, we should do it, Trace. We should set it up. We are the Experienced Motorist Guild. I totally want to do that now. Oh, God, it's midnight. It's midnight. Say your goodnight, darlings. It's time. I hate Shania Twain songs, says Trace, to the point where I told the music provider that her songs are banned and not to play them. Shania does not float my boat in looks either. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? It has been a random life. Skick says Liz Hurley is still nice. My favourite thing about Liz Hurley was that thing with Billy Connolly when he was hosting an awards thing, and she came on to do a guest award presentation thing, and she ran to the thing, and there was and poor old Billy Connolly, he was beside himself. It has been a random life, but it's been a very pleasant one. I'm knackered. I need to get off. I'm sure you're all lived out. This is the third live tonight, for God's sake. 3 lives in one night, plus the daily diary video, plus the plus Boaty's Noshes. It's a 5 video day. You deserve a rest. Oh, thank you, Tricia. I hope you sleep tight too. And good night to you, Simone. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock tomorrow night for Wednesday Night Live. Oh, and supper tonight that I've not had for a while. Chinese chicken curry. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I've not had it for a while, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, there we are. Gosh, 24 of you still here. He would have to climb over Pamela Stevenson. Oh, God. Now, I say I don't do blondes, but I might have made an exception for Pamela Stevenson in her not the 9 o'clock news time. Although, no, I probably wouldn't, because she became a sex therapist, and I had that terrifying date with a sex therapist. I'm never ever dating a sex therapist again. They're too demanding. Oh, yeah, and yeah, before we go, well said, Cheeseburger. Good night, all. Glad John is okay. Yeah, so that's the main thing to take from today, isn't it? Our friend had his procedure and it was successful. There are still some concerns about the future, but, you know, he's in a better place tonight than he was this morning. So that is all good. And I will watch The Ghost Don't Get Me, so. All right, darlings. Take great care of yourselves. Have a safe and peaceful night. Thank you so much for watching. Much love from me, and I will see you tomorrow night, 11 o'clock. Same time, same place. Good night.